I'm Jerry Byrne, this is Irish Radio, and today I'm having a chat with a gentleman who's a songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, musician and entertainer living in Maguire's Bridge in County Fermanagh. I'm delighted to say hello from Bracken Strings, Edward Bracken. Edward, how are you?
Not so bad, Jerry. How you doing?
Not bad at all. Listen, lovely to catch up with you. You're a talented man in music, and all of the songs that you've actually recorded, the number of songs you recorded, you wrote them yourself, and you've played actually most of the musical instruments on them.
That's right. I have, Shirley. I've been writing songs for a number of years, Jerry, and just decided recently to kind of really concentrate on the songwriting and playing guitar for about 25 years, and I've tried my hand at bass guitar and rhythm guitar and all as well. So yeah, I've sort of fill out most of the duties now on the songs.
Well done on it all. And you were playing, doing live work as well. Well, that's before all of this happened.
Yes, so I would be out and about with doing the pub scene and maybe a few concerts and parties and things like that. Unfortunately, like you say, until this pandemic hit, but I decided I would do the Facebook Live thing that a few people have been doing, and I've been doing it every weekend since the thing started, apart from the very, very first one. So I think it's 22 weekends I've clocked up now after yesterday.
Wow, well done. I've seen some of them, very, very good, and well done on achieving a good sound and a good show on Facebook Live.
Thank you. Nice to hear that, Jerry. I think part of the reason too is well, it was a strange time, as you know, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and we still don't know what's going to happen. But I think for me, the number one thing was to entertain the audience and entertain. There's lots of things happening out there, even like TV and film. People was doing their wee bits as well, and I decided I wanted to let people hear my stuff, even the fans that couldn't get out to the venues. And the other part of it really was to keep me in practice, because we didn't know how long the thing was going to last. And I thought if it's going to be a few months down the line, and then you go to pick up the guitar, it mightn't work.
Yes, well done on it. And the thing, I've said this to many singers and entertainers. The Facebook Lives, it gets so many views and so many viewings that there are television channels would be only too happy to have the numbers and have the figures.
Well, that's true. It is a strange thing. Like, I've never really watched TV or TV production before. I've done a few wee videos and stuff, and with other groups and stuff. But with Facebook Live, like, I know you do it yourself, Jerry, but you're sort of performing, and you don't know there's anybody watching. You're sort of performing to your own phone, and you're thinking, is anybody watching? Then you might see there's a number comes up on your screen. It'll say, there's 10 or 20 or whatever watching live at the time, and it's not really till the comments come on and they'll say, doing a great job, or can you sing such and such for me, and then you get a regular listenership that, even people that maybe never heard me playing live before has become sort of regular fans, which is so nice. It could be very easy to get bored of it very quick if nobody was watching, but I have to say I've started to really, really enjoy it.
That's excellent. Well, if you can imagine, it's the same as guys like me who for many years have been talking into microphones in empty rooms, i.e. radio studios, for all these years. So,
yes.
So that's the it's similar along that lines, but I do exactly get what you what you mean by it. It is it's something that is an acquired, and you're lucky on the Facebook thing in that you get the feedback. We've possibly been lucky in radio in that way. Yes, we get feedback in phones and now in texts and emails and all the rest of it. In that line, and that's how you actually can get a reaction. But it's excellent to have that, and to anybody who's done it on Facebook, I have to say, doing it live, well done to everybody who's done it, because absolutely superb. It's and you've managed to get a good sound, and be able to do a good show, so, fair play on all of that.
Thank you. Nice to hear that.
Edward, tell me this, how did you get in? Have you always been into music?
It's a kind of a strange one because I always think I got into music reasonably late. Now, I suppose I was about 15, so whether that sounds late or not, I don't know. But you tell these stories of wee kiddies, starting to learn to play the fiddle and stuff at like age 5 and all. But I sort of wasn't. Like I would have liked TV shows and films and run about outside, like we lived on the farm and everything like that. And I would almost say that I didn't like music when I was young. I know it sounds like a strange thing to say now, but I'm so steeped in it. Like, that is the thing I love the most, is the music. But I do remember growing up and listening to Boxcar Willie and Kenny Rogers is the two people I remember first seeing on the television. When I was like in the mid 80s, I was maybe 5 or 6 or whatever it was. And my mother and my father would have both listened to the radio and loved country music. And maybe it just sort of slowly seeped in. I don't know what it was. Like, I know it's a strange thing to say, but I've always been a big fan of Doctor Who since I was a young age. And there was one episode where they went back to the 50s. Right. And they were doing some rock and roll numbers. And one of them was like a live band actually was singing the song Singing the Blues. So my brother had joined the band, and one of the songs that the band sang was Singing the Blues. So that kind of piqued my interest a wee bit. And every time I'd go out to hear the band, I'd say, "Oh, get the guy to sing this song. And you got to get up in the morning from Bracken there," and he was another favourite of mine. And I used to say, "Oh, get him to do that," And there was loads of songs that I would have heard them doing, till eventually I asked the guy that was running the band one time we were coming home. I says, "Have you got any tapes or cassettes of the songs that you do?" He says, "Well, tell you what, here's about 7 or 8 cassette tapes of a fella called Buck Owens." Right? And so I brought them home and listened, and when I first listened to them, all I really done was copy the songs that I liked and had heard before and wanted and what have you. And then a couple of weeks later, I'd really been bitten by the bug that I wanted to borrow the tapes again and copied everything. That since then I've been the most massive fan of Buck Owens. Right. And it's the total sound of Buck Owens. I was picking them 60s recordings, Tiger by the Tail, Love's Gonna Live Here, Together Again, and all. But I just, not only do I love Buck Owens and the songs, it's the actual sound coming off the record, the sound of the guitar and everything. And I love many types of music, but that Buck Owens has always been my favourite.
Yes, he did have a certain sound, and there was something special about it. I'll have to say, it's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that Doctor Who ever gave any inspiration.
I know, something like that. I sort of think to myself, should I admit to that or not? Because it is a sort of a strange thing. But I suppose in some ways I'm a strange sort of fellow. But yeah, that's really what sort of got the thing connected up. I can nearly take you back and say, "Oh, that was the point there where I first heard that," connected through to the band that my brother was playing in, and that's because I can remember being at school discos, like when I was, a primary school disco, and I suppose, like, it's not the music that they play now, kind of bump, 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 but I suppose it was 80s music, but I really didn't like it, and I can actually remember, well, they tell me anyway, that every girl in the class came up to ask me to dance, and I wouldn't dance. But in a few years after that, I probably would have killed for that sort of attention.
Oh, that is brilliant. Yes. Yes.
But it's the country music. When I finally properly got into the country music, and particularly the old stuff, like I say, obviously Buck Owens, but also Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, Ray Price, all that old stuff I really love. Like when I first started listening to music, I suppose Garth Brooks was real big.
Yes. And
I never was dying about Garth Brooks. I've sort of come to like some of the songs and stuff like that now. But no, it has always been the older stuff for me.
Right, right. Now you've written the songs that you've written, and well done on it. I've been playing them, and one particular song which I got from you, I think it may have been last year actually, was a cracking one called the Bank of Mum and Dad.
That's right. I suppose when I was thinking back on it, I've actually been writing songs probably as long as I've been playing. Like I started learning to play the guitar around 1995, and I suppose on a side note, a fella recently said to me on the live shows, he says, "Hey, can you teach me to play the guitar like that?" And I says, "Yeah, it'll only take you 25 years," which is, because you're always learning, and I still feel like I'm learning. But I've been writing the songs as long as that, and I suppose a lot of them was all, I love you, you love me, or my heart's been broken. All very generalized stuff, which doesn't really grab the attention. And as time went on, I sort of started to sort of fine tune what I was doing, and I always like a good title. And if I say, that sounds like a good song and a good country song, I'll try and write something around that. So the last number of years, you always hear on the news, everybody's on about the Bank of Mum and Dad, the Bank of Mum and Dad, and I thought that'd be good to write a kind of a humorous version of that, like there's a line in there or something about that, I don't know, I wrote it, but I can't quite remember, but basically it's that you want them to leave you alone, as in, leave me alone, you're annoying me, but it's also leave me alone of money.
Yes, yes.
It's to try and get a wee humorous element on a thing that people are always talking about. It's like the most recent one. I think I may have sent this to you earlier today, Jerry, so I know you've been busy today, so you may not have received it, but my latest single is one called If You've Been Affected, and I've just recently released that, and the reason I wrote that, if you haven't already guessed, is nearly every TV show that you watch nowadays, at the very end of it, it'll say, and if you've been affected by issues raised, call this number. It doesn't matter nearly what the program is. Yeah. I thought, well, I'm going to write a song about that, and it's basically about, well, if you've been affected by these issues, you better get to the bar and have a drink. That's the gist of the song.
Yes, I have actually received it. Haven't managed to get a listen to it yet, but I'll have to say it caught my eye when I actually when I saw it. It really did. It's fair play on the. It doesn't look as though. It doesn't look as though you'll be doing, or anybody really will be doing any meaningful live shows for quite a while at this stage. Yes,
it certainly looks that way, and it's a very strange time. I know the first couple of weeks when we went into lockdown and stuff like that, it was just like almost like you're living round in circles. I know it's still a little bit like that, but we've sort of got used to it now, and I'm very lucky to be able to work from home, and I have a lovely home, and it's really just myself and my wife and our wee dog, and so it's nice and peaceful, and there's no hassle, thank God. I sort of feel for the people that maybe lives on their own, or maybe doesn't have a garden, things like that. That must be very hard on those people, but I actually feel very fortunate, but it's hard to know how long it's going to last. On the one hand, I sort of can't wait to get back to playing. On the other hand, I'd be very wary to see what's going to happen. It's all right saying, right, we're going to open a venue, but how do we know it's going to be safe? And you know yourself, there may be a second wave coming, and I think we're in this for the long haul by the sounds of things.
Indeed so. It is very strange times, and scary times. But there have been pandemics before, and thankfully, humanity has got out of them. So we sort of we remain positive for as long as we as long as we possibly can.
Yes, definitely. I suppose it's like the old saying that it's always darkest before the dawn, and like we've been going through a few months of this, but I think it's keeping the head and being sensible, and we'll get out the other side if everybody is sensible. There's no point being impatient, and I think that's the way I look at it. There's no, a few months out of your life is nothing as long as you still have your life at the end of it.
Indeed. Very, very true. Edward, listen, I wish you all the success in the world, and looking forward to getting more self-penned songs from you. It's been lovely to catch up with you. Listen to yourself and your wife and one and all. Stay safe and stay well. Lovely to catch up with you.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and thanks for having me on your show. And just like to wish you all the very best too, Jerry. All the best wishes to yourself and all your listeners out there.